All right, I'd like to call the Village Council work session meeting to order, May 27, 2021. I show the time at 6:32, and I show we have everyone here but Councilman Lyon, and which he will not be attending. But that said, I'd like a motion to allow Council Member Mark Elise to participate remotely.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additions, changes, and?
Yeah, so we've got a revised agenda, and I'm going to read the changes.
Okay.
So number 8 needs to read, consider updating Bank of America credit card, authorized persons to conduct business, including Christina Alphen Amos and Julie Rothrock. Add an item number 19, discussion and consideration of solid waste selection committee. We're going to move and revise number 20 to 22 to read, review of council minutes from the 4/13/21 budget work session, 4/13/21 regular, 4/20/21 special, 4/28/21 village hall design finishes subcommittee, 5/6/21 special, 5/11/21 special, 5/11/21 budget work session, 5/11/21 regular, 5/12/21 Springtown Hall, and 5/17/21 Village Hall design finishes subcommittee meetings. The new item number 20 is going to be discussion and consideration of solid waste utility fee versus tax increase. I add item number 21, which is going to be call for public hearing to discuss and consider the construction plan of 7-Eleven at Marvin Gardens, to be held on June 8th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at Village Hall, which is 10,004 Newtown Road. Add a closed session, recess into closed session pursuant to Ncgs 143318.11A6 to discuss personnel. And add item number 23 after the closed session to consider temporary assignment of finance officer to Christina Amos and consider interim pay per personnel policy Article 3, Section 8.
Okay, thank you, Kim. And Andy, do you have anything?
Nope.
Bob? Okay, I see a thumbs up, he's good. That said, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
As revised, I guess I should say.
Yeah, so moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Next up we have, let's see, we don't have any presentations. Village Hall, public hearing.
Village Hall.
Village Hall. We need 5 minutes for that, so, okay.
So first and foremost, I want to let you know that our Ncdot permit is 99.9% approved. They were waiting to get our check in the mail this week, and so when that processes, we will be good to go on that. We had some we had some sanitary sewer changes, slight changes that had to in our plans to the county, so we'll hopefully have that done this week and looking at potentially getting approval by the end of next week, hopefully, on our permits. Second thing is inside of your attachments that I gave you, aside from the agenda, you'll see an item that looks like this, Village Hall. This is a quick synopsis of what I've got planned out for contingency. I just wanted to let y'all know kind of where we're earmarking the money so you can kind of see where we're at. There's a subsequent item in the agenda where you are going to basically approve me to spend down this contingency as we get change orders. I've got 2 change orders attached to the back of this, one being for the fence removal and then one being for a change in door hardware. Another one was just added right before this meeting, so I added that in here. It's another $5,000 and it's for a change of plans that was done a couple months ago to coincide with the request of Union County. So we're looking at total right now of $20,000. That packet that's going around now is some of the unsuitable tests that were done this week where we're having to haul in some new dirt. I don't know how much that's going to be yet. We currently have an allowance with the contractor of I think 300 cubic yards, so anything above that will be charged for that, and that will have to come out of the contingency. Also, we are going to have overages in what we had allotted for in furniture, AV, and security. I'm estimating $75,000. It could be more, it could be less, but I'm just going to earmark that for now at $75,000. The well and some of the associated pipes to get the irrigation from the well to where the source is estimated around $15,000. You have a subsequent agenda item in your packet later. Landscape lightings, I've just got estimated at $5,000. I'm not sure if it's gonna be that. Sanitary unsuitables, I don't know how much that's gonna be. I put in $20,000 for it. It may be 0, it may be 10, not sure. And then a couple of other things that will have to come out of contingency. So as we stand right now, we've got a total of $55,000 left in contingency based off of those assumptions. Any questions on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is this third page?
That's the change orders. They have Be Safe Storage and Wine. They just didn't change the title, but it's really for Village Hall.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if they're gonna charge us, I would at least like for them to put, I don't know, us down there. And then what are the drawing changes? We're getting charged $5,000 for drawings?
There were some slight changes made in civil. I think it may have had to do with the sidewalk change. I'm not 100% sure exactly what it was, but per Union County review, we had to change some things.
That one that is in your hand, Joe.
I know, but this, there's not double.
That is item number 1. We are not there yet.
I know, but all this is all different.
That's all
This
different
was-
things.
I'm
Just
wondering
wait.
if he got it, that's what
He
I'm
did.
asking. Okay.
So, yes, there was a change in the plans during the review process with Union County. We had to change it, and because of that change, they're doing the change order so they can adapt to those change of plans.
so we're at 150,000 of our contingency already?
Change orders right now is just 20, based off of what's presented in front of you. However, I do need to keep in mind some of the changes that we're gonna have to account for, being the third-party testing, which hasn't come up yet. We haven't had to pay for that yet. The well, which we'll approve here shortly.
These are anticipated change orders.
Yeah, well, so that's what I'm getting at,
Yes.
is that we're already
That far in, yes.
that far in, and we haven't even gotten hardly started. So I'm a little concerned about that, and then what do we need to do at that point if we run over, because we only got another 50,000 left.
Yeah, that's true. So one of the things we can do is look at fund balance appropriation and put more money in from fund balance. You also have a slew of capital projects, one of them being something called land acquisition. It has about 300,000, if I can remember correctly, in it. We could take some money out of that if we need to, so.
Okay, I'm just getting nervous already, you know,
We just need to be
it's
careful
going
and,
quick.
Too much, too quick.
looking at things. But I wanted to let y'all know where we stood, in terms of as it is currently.
The good news is, generally speaking, with construction, the big surprises are now. So once we get past this, and that's, you always have this unknown when you start digging what's underneath, so.
So main thing is number 1 change order is the fence removal. It had to be taken out. So that was $1,000. Making sure y'all are okay with that change order. And then number 2 is the change in the hardware of the doors. They had brushed nickel or bronze or something like that in there, and we changed it to black, and that's going to be about $14,000. Making sure y'all are good with those 2 change orders, and then
Expensive.
the 5,000 in the plans we gotta do. So I'm gonna sign, unless there's any opposition to those, I'm gonna sign those change orders tomorrow and let them process through.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
And the Terracon report, that's just basically letting you know there potentially may be a change order with this. We won't know until
This is the proof
the
roll.
quantities, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you mentioned something about the brick.
Well,
That's in there
the
yet?
well has already gone to Union County and all that stuff. They gotta come out and look at it, and then they can tell them what they can and cannot do to.
Well, that's something completely different.
Which is-
That's
oh, that's
another,
another
Make
thing.
the brick for the stairs.
Oh, the stairs. Well, that's another thing Christina's aware of, and that's gotta, all that stuff has to do with DRB.
But that should
and
save us
design
money.
change. It should, but it's design change, and that's a whole other can of worms.
so 2 things on that. Number 1, the design review board changes. Y'all will talk about that in here in a minute, so
Right.
we'll make a determination on that. But any changes that we make as far as material changes now, we probably will not get a deduction in what we owe the contractor because it's a lump sum contract. Now, where there may be some leeway is, like for instance on the hardware, even though we're already processing it, but if we want to change some lights or something like that on the back end, if we've saved money on the stairs or the material, they may end up working out with us to kind of do a swap. But they're not just going to take off $10,000 and not make us pay it.
No, but we should at least try to negotiate for some of the change orders to get some of the credit back on change orders for different things.
Yeah. But just want to make sure y'all understand that.
Okay.
That's all I have, for Village Hall.
Goodness, we lost money. Okay, any other questions from anyone? Bob? Tim?
Nope.
All right, moving on, we have no public hearings. Items E, items of discussion. Discussion of gates and private roads. Go
Okay,
ahead.
I'll get this one started, but it's essentially coming from a conversation that originated with council where there was a desire to consider allowing neighborhoods to have gates. What those conditions might be to allow a neighborhood would be up to you, but I did want to bring up that there are some ordinances that would need to be changed even now, depending on what you guys come up with. One being that the streets and roads ordinances contains language that there will be no gates. And then there's another ordinance that allows gates for rural neighborhoods. There's already a conflict. Something is gonna have to be changed eventually, but regardless of that, this is kind of your opportunity to have this open discussion and figure out what conditions a subdivision, existing or future, could have to be allowed to have a gate, and I will turn around and write some code for it. So I'll turn the floor over to whoever wants to talk about it.
Well, I want a full council when we do talk about it. I'm not opposed to talking about it or anybody wants to share things. I think we've already established the fact that we will grandfather in existing neighborhoods that have gates. We've already
Right.
done that, so, which means we're basically not gonna do their streets maintaining, that's up to them. And is waste hauling gonna be included in the gated communities?
Yeah, they're in Marvin,
There,
then
okay,
yes.
okay, there will be then. But overall, I mean, I've personally never been opposed to, I don't know why this has become a big issue. I know a lot of neighborhoods, like gates, but I personally, I think we and a few other homeowners pursued doing it ourselves before we had turned the roads over in our own neighborhood and stuff, but it really went nowhere. I've talked to officers about this. They basically say low-hanging fruit for the people who are committing crimes and stealing things, they're going to go there, but the next level is a gate. The next level after that is a guarded gate. Then maybe you got video cameras. But at the end of the day, if somebody, it's a false sense of security in the end, in my view. At the end of the day, if a criminal wants to get in on that neighborhood, they're going to figure out a way to get in. And before you know it, everybody has the code. Codes for whoever existing neighborhoods have it. You give it to your friends, that goes out, and everyone has access. So it is, to some extent, a false sense of security. So, but I'll leave it to anyone
I know, but
else.
I don't think that's like our responsibility. I think if the neighborhood wants one, then we need to figure out, because like Rohit said, we've got two things in here that are contradictory, right? You can have it for this, but you can't have it for this. So if we're gonna allow it, we should just allow it.
But what's contradictory, can I ask?
The streets and roads section says no gates are allowed for any new roads. And
New
then-
roads.
No, any
right,
roads.
like any roads.
Any roads.
Okay, he said new roads.
Right,
but-
like
But it's any roads, it's
Any
not
roads.
new.
Okay.
what I mean by like it does allow grandfathered gates. That's what I mean.
Right.
So new into Marvin roads.
Right.
Not
So-
necessarily a new road.
Right.
Roads that are being built or roads
Or they were
neighborhoods that are
acquiring a
already
neighborhood
already-
or something, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's another section that does allow gates for rural subdivisions, like the 3 Pond Acres across the street. That section was written afterwards, not clarifying the streets and roads section, which is in contradiction today. So.
Yeah, that one's a head scratcher to me. I don't know
Yeah.
how that one got through.
Right.
But
So
it did.
I did provide in both your packet and in the packet, that's on your desk. just the section 151.152H that does show where and exactly how gates for rural subdivisions are allowed and can be designed and maintained. So at some point, somebody thought to add this to our ordinance, and the council at the time approved it, but did not go back and change the streets and roads ordinance that says no gates except for grandfathered ones.
He's got it. Remember, if you look at it, it said number 1.
No, it was a different one. I thought it said number 1, it says 14.
Oh, some.
No, it's number 1, but I thought it was
Okay.
number
Okay, did I hand you that? I
Here.
didn't remember.
here.
Okay.
So anyway, so it's contradictory, so we need to.
We'll have to change something anyway.
Right, so I'm with you, Joe. I don't, if a neighborhood wants to put up a gate, why does the village care?
Well, I think we covered this before, the reason why the gate ordinance was in, and it all goes back to Marvin Creek. Because of that through,
I know, but I mean.
and that was the reason why it was written in the first place, is to keep that free flowing traffic, because it was designed to flow across. And if we do away with the gate ordinance, then they close that gate and it
But
blocks traffic.
So we're doing it to punish.
Not punish, but
one neighborhood.
it's not punish.
So
it's-
then it's preventing any other neighborhood that wants to have a gate. You can put in something that it can only be a one entrance neighborhood. One way in, one way out would allow gates. Not multiple entrances. I mean, listen, I like, my neighborhood's talking about doing it. I don't care either way, but I don't know why Marvin cares if we put up, if neighborhoods want to put up gates and take over their roads, like, why do we care? Like, that.
I totally agree with you, Kim. I absolutely totally agree with you.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I mean, it'll take a bunch of roads off of our balance sheet that we have to maintain and pay for.
So let me
That's
ask,
right.
yeah,
That's
I
right.
agree with that. So what would the process be for the HOA, for them to do it themselves and go through their own HOA, what do you call it?
Not our problem.
It could be, because we had this issue when, hold on a sec, let me finish, because you're shaking your head, but if you remember, there was a big crowd that showed up, and there were only a handful of homes that were in Marvin, and they wanted it, we all agreed with them, but can a homeowner come back to us that it's in Marvin, said these roads were deemed Marvin or taken over, they were always deemed? I mean, they're gonna fight it out with their own. It could be our problem, could not be our problem, I'm not sure.
Well, that's a very unique situation, because you have 3 streets in there that were Marvin, the rest were unincorporated Union County. I don't know that we have any other neighborhoods that are like that right now. So totally like wonky situation. But if a neighborhood wants to do it, let's say, I'll just use my neighborhood. My neighborhood wants to do it. They're not coming to Marvin to say, hey, we want to take over the roads, because they're not Marvin's roads. They're going to Ncdot. So like, Marvin's out of it. Like, I would say that we don't have any, I mean, obviously we need to check with Chaplain on that, but if they're not our roads. Now, if they come and say Firethorn wants to do it, then Marvin may have an issue, because those are Marvin's roads.
And what about Weddington Chase, where you have Marvin roads and then you have some homes in there that are not Marvin?
Well, that's just, again, a wonky situation.
It is, but it is what it is, and how.
I mean, we're gonna have to talk, we would have to talk to Chaplain about like what our liability is. But I would think that the homeowners association and the neighbors would have to come to some sort of, I'm sure there's something in their bylaws, or there's something somewhere that says X% of, the neighbors have to agree. But I don't think I don't think that we need to get bogged down
Right.
in trying to figure that out for neighborhoods.
So the argument, just so you know, years ago was you needed 100%. Why? Because every individual homeowner signed, not with the county and stuff, but that deed is to the lot which is to the county, which said that that was always gonna be a state maintained road. That's what that person signed up for. So to change that, you'd have to actually change all the individual deeds. And that's why, but I don't know how they got around it with this last case.
But I don't know that that's true, because when I moved into my
Obviously it isn't,
house.
because they
Right,
did it.
right, but when I moved into my house, our neighborhood maintained our roads, and then we turned it over to the state. And my deed never changed that I know of, like, that I got a new copy. I mean, maybe they just changed it in the, I don't know.
Well, it was always deemed to be the state road.
No,
That was when.
No, when I had it, when I first moved in, our neighborhood maintained our roads.
Right, because they weren't officially turned over to the state, but what?
Is that right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
Okay.
And that's what we did,
Will
so,
be.
but the state said to us, oh no, Firethorn, we don't just accept your roads, you have to bring them up to our standards, then we accept your roads,
Okay.
and that's what we did. So that's the kind of,
Okay, but again, I don't think that is, like, I don't think that that's our responsibility. It's either, are we gonna allow gates or are we not gonna allow gates? And if we're going to allow them, then we need to find out what the village's responsibility is and liability is if there's one neighbor that just does not want to have a gate and doesn't want to turn their, take their roads private.
yeah.
I have a question about the gate thing, and I agree with what you're saying, Kim. We just need to find out what is it, what's our reliability and responsibility. One thing that just hit me, let's assume right now, we can choose any community, but let's say your community decided to put up gates, okay?
Yeah.
And 911 is called from somebody in your community. Is there something that the homeowners association has to do to communicate,
Yeah.
to
Yeah, there's like a thing on the gate that like all emergency services has, and it just automatically opens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, so
Knox
Firethorn
box.
is a unique neighborhood in that it's under 2 states. So we did, not only we talked about gates, we talked about road humps. Lancaster County would not allow us to put road humps in where Firethorn on the North Carolina side does allow them, because they said it was because of their EMS vehicles needing to go a certain speed, and they didn't want those in there. So we weren't allowed to continue where the trouble areas were in South Carolina. We weren't allowed to add, even though we did all the studies and the cars went through and it warranted putting in the road humps, the county would not allow it. So counties play a role in this too, and they had concerns about accessibility and in and out, so yes.
Okay.
I just don't understand.
Well, let me ask you
why.
this, is anyone against allowing neighborhoods to pursue their own, let's call it happiness? If that's what's gonna make them happy, if they wanna pursue it, is anyone opposed to it?
I'm not.
I'm not opposed
Bob,
to
you
it.
left
I'm
us. Okay.
My only concern is, and I guess that would be, as Kim suggested, writing it in there that, it would be for subdivisions with one in-out entrance. The only thing I don't want to do is block that thoroughfare. Because people, you'd have to drive all the way around to get through. And I don't think that should be it.
That neighborhood-
Streets were designed for
That neighborhood was designed for that.
the through traffic, and
Yes.
I think that was the big reason why the ordinance was even put into place to begin with. And I would hate to see that blocked, but I'm only one person, so.
No, I agree, that road was put in there, it's wider going straight versus making that quick turn, and I can't remember the road, but that's an issue there. I think a former council group got cute and actually purchased the area under where the gate would have been, and that's how they got around not allowing gates, because they just were gonna put those up. But and that was always planned to be a cut through to get to Ray Road. That whole development was always planned, and that's why they widened the one area of but everyone takes the narrower road. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't we have Chaplin look at like what our liability is if we decided to let a neighborhood take over their road? Like if we said it was okay to put up a gate, and obviously they're like the neighborhood's gonna have to do the work and talk to Ncdot, et cetera, or I mean it could be a Marvin neighborhood, it could be the preserve may decide to do it.
Yep.
But what is our what's our liability if there's like a few neighbors that just do not want one, and do we have any liability? So can we have them do that? And then let's talk about it at the next work session
Yep.
in June.
Good talk.
I guess before we leave this topic, I may ask, is there any sentiment between the conflict to lean towards removing future rural subdivisions from having gates, or?
I think we gotta figure it out before we can
Okay.
make that decision.
Fair enough.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, next we have discussion consideration of ordinance amending budget for various salary and operating expense lines in general government budget.
So moved.
What was it about? You want to talk about it a little bit?
Various salary and operating expenses.
Okay, well,
It's mostly Parks and Recreation stuff just being moved around. And then some funding moved around for the CPA firm.
okay, so it's allowing you to,
It's taking money from one pot and sticking it in
Yeah.
another.
okay.
And it's mostly all associated with the Parks and Recreation.
Okay. Based on what we have, everyone comfortable? Any questions, Bob?
I'm good.
Andy?
I'm good.
Okay. So we need a motion for that?
I so moved it.
Okay, all's in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have consider adoption of establishing Marvin annual operating budget for fiscal year 21-22.
This is your operating budget for the next fiscal year. Y'all heard the presentation several times. We have had no comments
Can we
today.
go over it again?
Oh my gosh. no.
Kidding. So that has to be done by June 30th, correct? So we're a month ahead of time, and we've had no feedback from the community and everything, so
I have
we had
not
a
had
public
any.
hearing.
Yeah, public hearing.
At the
Okay.
spring town hall,
Yep.
nobody signed up to talk.
Okay, so basically, any questions
No
from
comments.
council?
Not at all.
So I'll need a motion to approve the Marvin annual operating budget fiscal year 21-22.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have discussion of advisory board's attendance policy.
Okay, I'll keep this
Awesome.
brief. You guys have established an attendance policy for advisory boards that members are expected to attend all regular and special meetings, and if they are to be absent, that is to be occasional and not recurring. If members miss 2 consecutive meetings or 4 meetings in a 6-month period, the mayor or a council representative will meet with the board chair to determine possible action. Action may include a removal from the board to be decided at the next regular council meeting. We have 2 members of the planning board that are currently in violation of the policy, one being Mark Peterson, the other being Kent Renner, but I will say he had something dealing with his daughter's graduation, so excuse the planning board may be willing to excuse him from that absence. But it's my job to let you know when violations of this policy occur. It has been difficult to maintain a quorum of the planning board these last few months. We had to cancel the March meeting and then immediately scramble together to get a special meeting so the village hall plans could be approved. And we had a bare quorum at the last meeting, and we had multiple applicants on that agenda that would have had to change their plans if we had to cancel at the meeting.
Multiple applicants of what?
7-Eleven,
Oh, okay.
7-Eleven,
Okay.
else?
That's
That's
fine.
Marvin Brand.
I just didn't know what you meant by applicants. Okay.
So,
So you're just telling us this?
This is informational to let you know that, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, life gets in the way of life. I mean, you get that, and things are gonna happen and stuff. Are most that are absent for whatever reason, are they given enough advance notice for you, or is that an issue? And I'm not trying to call anyone out.
It
I'm saying in
varies.
general.
It varies.
Do we have to have a policy for that? If you're gonna know you're gonna miss, and you know there's a, for instance, a graduation, not that I'm calling him out, but if there's a graduation, you know that probably a month ahead.
I mean, they establish their own schedules. They adopt them, and when they learn about things, they should try to tell me. The quorum. That's the purpose of the quorum checks when they come out. And a lot of people just don't respond to quorum checks. So it's usually me waiting till the last quorum check the day before the meeting and then finding out. And then scrambling to determine, do we have a quorum or not?
So, does all of council respond to quorum checks?
I do.
I do.
I do.
I do, don't I?
You do, Joe.
Okay.
Andy and Jamie don't. I can tell by Andy's face.
Well, I know Andy's going to be here. He tells me if he's not, but
Right.
point taken.
But, I know there was a point where, you had to have it in writing or something like that, but like to a text.
The policy
or
says
whatever.
if you don't tell me, you're supposed to be coming. So.
Right. And that's what we have to assume with everyone, but the last minute, I just think
So,
that.
well, I mean, is this just a planning board issue? Is this a heritage district committee issue? Is this a Parks Rec and Greenway issue? What do we have going on here?
Parks and Rec Board is fine. Everyone that's currently on the board has met the attendance policy. The committees only had to cancel 2 meetings, but they were around. The first one was a scramble, but the last one they had to cancel was around a holiday, and so
And that's the heritage committee?
that was the heritage district. The planning boards were the most problems have been.
Okay, so I would say let's have a conversation with the chairman and have him have a conversation with his board and tell them that they need to be responding to quorum checks. And if, as soon as they know that they can't be at a meeting, then they need to let Austin know.
Well, free to speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm following
yeah.
the rules. I look at him to keep me in line. Anyway, we've covered this, quite often. And there's one person who is just evaporated, and it's next on your agenda.
Yeah.
Which I think if we resolve that one issue, maybe the others we can take care of.
Okay. All
I
right.
think. And if not, I'll be back before.
Sounds good.
And John, I encouraged Kent to reach out to you after I notified him that he was in violation.
All right. I haven't heard,
Okay.
but
Yeah, I mean, at this point, this is, all we can do is go to the board chair and
Yep.
yeah.
they'll lean on you a little bit and say,
Well, and like I said,
round them up.
and the other week I told Austin, I said, appreciate you keeping up with the date, because I don't keep up with it, and he's doing a good job.
All right.
And, he says, so-and-so's missed 3, then we'll either get it corrected, or I'll be here saying, I need
Okay.
to fix it.
All right. Very good. Bob, you good?
Austin, just a quick question. Do we have any applications on file for any of these
One.
boards?
I have no
No,
applications.
hang on. I'm good.
Hang on, everybody. I'm good.
Hold on one second, I'm good too.
You still have one. You still have one planning board application online that was up for consideration last time from Buddy Morgan. That's the only one for the planning board. You have some on file for other boards right now.
Okay. Well, then we should talk to him. We should talk to him if we have an opening.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. All right, we're good to move on?
Yep.
Thank you. Next up, we have discussion, consider removal of planning board member Mark Peterson. I'm going to turn this over to John, since I think the council asked that this be directed to the planning board chair, so I just wanted to find out where we're at.
This has been ongoing for a while. And as Austin's reported, he didn't get his forms in. And he promised me several times he'd get the annual forms in, which he didn't do. As I understand, he's started a new company, and he's traveling a lot and everything, and we've exchanged, not really phone calls because it's hard to get, but at least we've exchanged text messages, and he promised to get the forms in. Hasn't done it. He said, I'll do it tomorrow morning. And then, and I said, I understand your business and everything. Do you think maybe it's time, to free up some of your time. And he said, I'm gonna send Austin a letter of resignation. And he still has not done that.
But he's verbally communicated.
Yeah,
with
he
you.
communicated he was going to, and he just
Okay.
hasn't done it. And I,
And I think that was our thing, is, a quick note sending you, letting you know, because,
as I understand officially, it needs to go to
yes,
Austin. But,
yes.
But-
he
but-
just hasn't done anything.
But you've gotten a text that said he was gonna send a letter of resignation. Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion, I mean, that's all we need to know. I'm gonna make a motion to remove planning board member Mark Peterson,
From the
effective
planning board.
immediately. I said planning board
Okay,
member,
okay.
effective immediately.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do we wanna, that's not on the agenda, but.
No, but I would say, Austin, you can send that out, and
Yeah, I was
everybody
gonna
should
say-
give him
I
a
was
call.
gonna
and-
ask the same,
Yep.
I'll notify him.
Confirm you,
No.
they're still interested.
Well, yeah, notify him, but send us the application that you
I will.
have.
Yeah, and then we can have that for the next meeting, maybe? Okay. All right, moving on, discussion of interpretation of ordinance, design review ordinance 151.251 and zoning permit ordinance 151.182.
So over the last several months, we have been going through the design review board process with the Village Hall. This is the second stab at this process. The first stab was with the initial Village Hall plans, but now we're actually seeing the plans come to fruition and, going into play. And what we're noticing is, there's not a lot of leeway in this process for changes that may take place, even small changes, such as changing from pine straw to mulch, or changing from white to off-white. The guidelines, or the ordinance is very specific in nature, that the approval has to be very exact location of structures, parking, facilities, sidewalks, specific individual building design plans, including floor plans, square footage, landscaping. These provisions, in essence, attempt to impose unique conditions in general zoning districts, and this zoning generally requires uniform regulation with respective zoning districts. And so what we're seeing here is, in effect, spot zoning. And in Chaplin's analysis of this ordinance and trying to work through what changes can be made, he basically states that he finds this zoning ordinance to be invalid and should be rewritten to include uniform architectural and building standards. I provided a memo that Chaplin gave out. He cited a statute that basically says, except as authorized by the foregoing, all regulations shall be uniform for each class or kind of building throughout each district, but regulations in one district may differ from those in other districts.
What did you send that out in?
It's right here.
Okay,
It's item number 6, right there.
okay.
So I'm just kind of highlighting a couple of different parts of this memo. Village of Marvin is imposing special zoning requirements on any non-residential structure through the DRB regulations. This is beyond the scope of zoning because it requires in non-uniform regulation outside of a conditional zoning district. For conditional zoning, the Marvin zoning ordinance expressly allows minor administrative modifications, such as any modifications that do not alter conditions of the site plan, impact provisions related to abutting properties, alter setbacks, screening buffers, landscaping, or increase residential development and densities. So what we're asking here is an interpretation of what the zoning administrator's authority and verification of compliance is of this ordinance and how we can proceed with making changes.
So Chaplin doesn't think that this is like allowable.
He does not,
Okay,
nor does our architect.
okay.
Nor do I, if it means anything.
So what's the, at the end of the day, do you want an opinion from council about how we view this, or should we just, is it possible to scratch this ordinance and remove it?
We do
Because
need
who
to,
sits on the DRB anyways? The planning board.
Planning board.
Yeah,
we do need to make amendments to the DRB review board ordinance.
Okay.
So we completely understand that, but we're in the middle of our process right now with Village Hall, so we really need some interpretation as to how we're gonna move forward with making minor amendments, so we're not having to go back to DRB every single time we want a minor thing changed. For example, this is just one example, we had a fence change come into play here recently to a higher, better quality, more superior fence, and I'm scared to pull the trigger on it because of the way that the ordinance is written. Even though it's superior to what was approved, it's not what was approved by DRB.
Right, but it's not legal that DRB can say, oh, you can't do that.
Chaplain's assessment is that ordinance is invalid
Okay.
because it creates non-uniform standards.
Okay.
For
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think it's absolutely crazy. Like, I mean, I think that the DRB has really good, I think it is a very useful board, but when it's coming down to, well, this light's a little bit different than the one that they approved, but the one that they want to use is, compliant and it's commercial grade versus the one that they picked was residential grade, but they pretty much look the same. I mean, that's this kind of stuff that's just, it'll take us 3 years to build this and double the budget because we're gonna have so many change orders. So I think we need to,
Another thing that I'll just bring up is time. And this, it'll even go beyond what we're doing, but time, like lead times for materials and
Sure,
such, that
yeah.
we don't have time to go to the DRB.
that's what I'm saying. It'll take us 3 years to build this thing. So,
Can't do it at that.
okay, so if nobody had, Bob, you got any objections, nope, okay. So I'm gonna make a motion, to confirm the zoning administrator's verification of compliance is substantial compliance and affect the approval shall include any necessary approvals of minor adjustments consistent with 151.251. This shall include allowing administrative amendment provided that it does not notably alter conditions or site plan, impact provisions related to abutting properties, alter setbacks, screening, buffers, or landscaping, or increase non-residential development density by the less of 10% of approved square footage or 1,000 square feet, and to direct staff to amend the DRB ordinance to impose uniform architectural standards and to allow provisions for administrative amendments with guidelines.
further discussion. All of those in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously. And you're good, Christina?
Correct.
You feel better?
Yes.
He's gonna pull the trigger on the
Give
better.
us a nice
That motion was with the help of Chapman. Okay. Very good. Moving on, we have discuss and consider adoption of resolution to change the compensation for village council. Christina?
This resolution was done in coordination with the request of council to add the additional boards like the WUMA, the planning board. So that extra stipend is in there for when y'all attend those meetings. And this was very fun to do. We had to go round and round a couple of times trying to figure out the numbers, but this was what was requested. So this is what we're doing to change it with the budget ordinance.
Okay, so because we're going to so many extra meetings, there's
Yes.
more than just 2 a month, okay.
There's a lot more than just two. I mean,
Right.
Okay, and I think we've talked about this before, I think so. Any other comments, Bob?
No, not at all.
All right,
Andy? Okay,
So-
need a motion for that?
motion to approve the adoption of resolution to change the compensation of the village council.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Next up, number 8, consider updating Bank of America credit card authorized persons to conduct business to include Christina Alphen Amos and Julie Rothrock.
it's straightforward.
Moved.
Yeah, I mean,
Exactly.
obviously, we have limited access right now, we need to clean that up,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
So moved.
So you can get to the bank account, okay. All right, all's in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes, not soon enough. Number 9, discussion consideration of authorizing village manager to approve change orders and contingencies of up to $200,000 previously allocated in the village hall agreement with Randolph and Son Builders.
So previously, y'all approved a $200,000 contingency, but we don't really have any guidelines as to how y'all want to spend that money. Obviously, I'm not gonna just freely spend the $200,000, but I need some kind of authority to grant change orders and changes when they come up, so that we're not having to wait for a council meeting. So I just kind of need to know what my threshold is within that $200,000 allowance.
Okay, so but are you suggesting that you, in this item of discussion, that you could change something up to 200,000? One item?
Well, I mean, if it's
$200,000 change, then yeah, but that's what she's asking. So can she make a change that's $10,000? Does she want us to go, is she good up to $50,000?
As it relates to Village Hall?
yes,
Yeah, because you're basically the project manager.
yes.
But that's what she's asking.
Yes.
What's the threshold?
Okay.
$10,000, $5,000?
What would you like to see?
I mean, just the door hardware was 13,000. So if y'all want
Okay.
to say 50,
I would say 50, because this dirt may be 25, 30, I don't know what it's gonna run, and we don't know until they dig it out and find out how many cubic yards of fill they're gonna need. We've got 300 cubic yards
allowance, yes.
allowance, it could go triple that easily, so.
So Andy and I, just so you know, we were talking at dinner tonight about, there's places around, the dirt is not expensive. It's hauling
And it's hauling.
and where you're getting it from. That's where the cost is.
And the excavation.
I agree.
Yeah.
And there's a property just south of us, it's actually St. Matt's. I haven't talked to him, but I'm saying before we go and tell him the builder to go say, yeah, go do this, I'd like to have the opportunity to have a conversation, because they have a mound of dirt that I guarantee you would fill that whole corner lot. But I don't know what their plans are for it. But that's very close. It's right. It's at the south location that I've always seen that they're always questioned why they did it. It becomes a sled riding place for the kids if it snows. But they just, when they built that property there, I have no plans. They've changed the guard at St. Matthew's. I'd love the opportunity to talk to them, especially if it looks like we are going to be having some fill, is just to go over to them and say, what are your plans for it? We need X amount. Could you sell us that?
But we also need to make sure it's good dirt.
Yeah.
It
It is good. They wouldn't have put it there if it isn't
Okay,
good.
so
dirt.
can
It
I
is
weigh
good
in on
dirt,
this? I was around during the construction of that. It is, because there was a lot of cut on that site when they built that, and they stockpiled it there intentionally. Now,
Okay.
what I was told was that the priest that was in charge at the time put it there to stockpile it for sale. But
That was
Well, I can
that, I don't-
hold off on that change order until you.
I just like an opportunity to call and say,
that's
hey. have
a
them-
possible source to get the dirt, but it
But-
was red clay that was stockpiled there during the construction.
Okay, so,
But for
so 50,000,
Yeah.
let's say 50?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
You okay with 50, Bob?
I'm fine with that.
okay, he said it was good.
Good.
Okay. All right. So we need a motion for that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
And just so y'all know, I'll probably know about the change orders about the same time as she does, if not before. Because I'm meeting with him every morning to make sure that nothing goes crazy. So there'll be more than just one ear on this.
Okay. Someone want to make the motion?
sure Andy does, go ahead.
Make a motion to allow the village manager to make
Change order.
change orders up to $50,000 during the course of construction on Village Hall.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Very good, good job.
Next up, yeah, he's good. I wish he's in training.
I know.
It's good.
I've been listening to Kim. She's doing a very good job teaching.
Next up is number 10, discussion consideration of amending agreement with Sunshine Construction to allow contingencies for unsuitable conditions and authorize village manager to approve change orders and contingencies of up to $10,000. And this is for what?
That's the sanitary sewer, and you might want to go ahead and increase that to 50 because we may come up with the same issues there.
Yeah.
Does it matter what the dirt is for the sewer?
Andy?
Well, no, it won't. They're gonna dig a trench, and I don't think there's gonna
Could
be.
get rock though.
They could hit rock, but I don't think that in knowing this conditions of the soil around here, general conditions, I don't think there's gonna be a problem with it. I don't see you having big change orders with this project. Tyler told me he's taken his end of it to the edge of disturbance zone, so they're only gonna have to go there.
Okay,
All they have to do is run that pipe from there to there. I don't think you're gonna need more than 10.
okay, well.
But if we do,
We can have a special
it's gonna be a major deal, and we can have a special meeting if
Okay.
that's what it needs, but I don't think you're gonna need more than that.
All right, so we get a motion then. Any questions, Bob?
Not at all.
All right, go ahead, Andy, you got it.
All right, so I wanna make a motion to allow the village manager to, approve change orders up to $10,000 for Sunshine, construction for the, construction of the sewer line,
For Village Hall.
what is it, the sewer line
Sanitary sewer.
attachment
And-
for Village Hall.
And to allow contingencies for unsuitable, because they didn't have it in their package.
And to allow
Contingencies for unsuitables.
For
unsuitable
unsuitables.
conditions.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. How we doing, Austin? On
Keep
the
going.
Motions, all right? We're
You're
doing
good, keep
okay?
going.
All right, just checking in. Next up, number 11, discussion and consideration of exempting 3 bid requirement and award contract to Terracon for third-party testing at Village Hall site at a price not to exceed $15,000 and authorize manager to execute agreement. Terracon.
This is the third-party testing that we just talked about, the proof rolling and stuff like that, so we can assure that, kind of quality assurance and checking behind the contractor.
So just so you guys know that the third party is going to check everything that the building inspectors don't do. So they're going to check site situations, they're going to check compaction rates, they're going to core sample the asphalt, all these different things that are involved in construction outside of the realm of the normal county inspections. So that's what they're there for.
And is that required?
Yes.
It is.
Okay. So we're not asking for 3 bids, it is what it is what we're saying.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
in the essence of getting it done.
I did
like
get
right
2,
now.
and this was the lowest one,
Yeah, and
so.
they're already having to do that
Yeah.
with the proof roll and stuff, so.
It's
Okay.
our contract, isn't it? That we are responsible for this.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions, Bob?
Not at all.
All right, need a motion?
Did you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we,
Okay, yeah, I'm good.
All right, so I'll make a motion to exempt, the 3 bid requirement and award contract to Terracon for third-party testing of Village Hall site, price not to exceed $15,000 and authorize the manager to execute agreement.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next up, we have discussion consideration of exempting 3 bid requirement and award contract to DL Mullis for well drilling of Village Hall, site at a price not to exceed to be determined and authorized manager to execute a agreement contingent upon attorney review.
So based off of our short staffing right now, it's really hard for us to get like 3 quotes, so I called this company. It cost $8,000 approximately just for the permit from Union County. They're anticipating another, I don't know, $5,000 on top of that. It depends on the how far they go down.
I thought the permit for Union County was like $50. Isn't that
Union-
what we looked up?
Union County well permit fee says $74.80 according to,
No, that's the whole thing. That's 6-inch well, up to 200 feet of drilling and up to 50, that's all of that.
yeah.
The well
That may-
permit isn't that much.
oh, okay, well, I'm glad.
I was like, what is like $50? I was like, Christina, we need to.
now, we looked at
So
this, it was like
Yeah.
$10.
Okay, well, so she estimated no more than $12,000 because it really depends on how deep they go.
I
They have to go.
know.
Right.
Um,
I can tell you this right now, there's a hand dug well that's 12 feet deep that has 3 foot of water in the bottom of it over there, so I don't think we're gonna have a problem getting the.
So it could be way less than what I.
Yeah, it could be very, very inexpensive. The water table is pretty shallow on that site.
Oh, sorry, here are the prices. It's $480.
But it's not drinking
not
well.
drinking.
It's
Irrigation.
it's still
Irrigation
480.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I put a 7 in front.
I mean, I'm normally like, yeah, don't get 3 quotes. because, you know, but I don't know. I feel like we should get one more. It shouldn't be that hard for them to give us a quote.
In full disclosure for council, I mean, I think I gave you this person's, and
Yes,
I was
you did.
literally on a walk and I noticed a well company drilling for someone for irrigation and stuff, and I grabbed their card and I said, we may have something for you, so maybe one more
We can get one more.
company.
Let's get one
At
more.
least one more.
We've got
That's
time.
fine.
So.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll go.
I would feel better if we had just one more just to look at the numbers.
Okay.
Cause I don't know if the, you know, over 200, at $16 a foot, if that's like, I mean, I know it was expensive. It took them 3 days to find water in my house. So I know what an expensive well looks like, so, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that too.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Okay, so we don't need a motion then, you're just gonna
No,
go
I'll
ahead.
bring it back.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, sorry.
Moving on, like you don't have anything else to do.
I'll call around. I'm good at getting quotes.
Yeah.
I'll come into the office and do some office work.
In full disclosure, I did not know anybody at that company, just for the record, if anyone's listening. I just happened to be on a walk and gave the information to Christina because I knew we were gonna be looking at that. Next up, discussion consideration of off-duty officer change of hours request.
So basically, y'all have requested that we move the hours up 30 minutes to start at 4 o'clock instead of 4:30 to kind of absorb some of the traffic that we're seeing early on. Long story short, the off-duty coordinator really thinks that if we do that, we're gonna start tapping into less resources, meaning that we're gonna have less people filling that job. He estimates that we'll have going from daily field shifts to 2 to 3 a week. So we can always try it, see what happens, but basically the people that are getting off shift get off at 4:30. So, off their normal duty. So they're getting off at 4:30 and then coming over to us pretty quickly. If we're starting at 4, we're only gonna be tapping into the resources of people that are off that day. We can't tap into those that are just getting off duty.
I thought, our officers said that they didn't work that
That's what
kind
I
of
thought too,
shift.
but I remember that conversation with Jay early on, and that's why I brought it up in the meeting last time. And he kind of reiterated it this last time, so.
I mean, he's the boss, he knows what's going on, so I would have to just stick with, his recommendations, when we're gonna get the most officers to fill the position. I mean, I'd like to see it earlier, but if we can't do it, we can't do it. I don't wanna discourage them from doing it just because of.
In the end, it's gonna lighten up here in about a week. So, because of, I mean, it is still gonna be what it is. People are going back to work, but school's out. Not as big an issue in the morning, I don't think, but evenings will be the.
It doesn't matter, we don't have anybody out there in the morning anyway.
Yeah, I think it's, well, and to your point though, once school is out, there may not be that earlier traffic, that 4 o'clock hour.
3:30. Yeah, because that's, kids get picked up at 4
Yeah,
over there, so.
so maybe that'll alleviate that, at least for the summer. We'll see how it goes, I guess.
Okay.
Bob, what do you think?
But that is good as well.
Any action we need to take on that then?
No.
Good. Sorry, folks, you'll just have to deal with the long lines going forward. Next up, item number 14, discussion consideration of request from Brett Parker of 8037 Stonehaven Drive to repair damaged irrigation lines.
So we had some repairs that were done in Weddington Chase a couple weeks ago, my dates are running together, but in this one particular instance, the homeowner claims that we broke an irrigation line. He was having some leaks after we came in to fix a sinkhole that was basically in his, like at the sidewalk of his yard. He says that it started happening after the straw was put down. When I said something to Mike to communicate to the vendor, he said that there's no way because it was way down the road. The work was done way down the road than where the leak is occurring. The homeowner questions how we know that it wasn't caused by the prodding and stuff that was done prior to the actual repair. So it's a he said, she said kind of thing. I don't know what y'all want to do. Typically, we're not going to make repairs that's in the right of way without an encroachment agreement. We do have regulations that require property owners to have encroachment agreements when they're in our right of way, and the sprinkler heads appear to be in our right of way, and so therefore we would require the homeowner to make those repairs because of that situation. But I'll leave it entirely up to you guys. There's pictures here. Some of them are kind of poor quality, but it shows the sinkhole of the sidewalk,
Yeah.
and then the where the repair was done.
I mean, how far away from where the repair done was the leak?
Mike says it was around 20 feet. The gentleman,
20 feet.
that's what Mike said. Mike, our engineer. The gentleman said that it still could have caused damage based off of like the pulling of the pipes down the way,
Pulling a what?
the
pipes?
irrigation pipes, because they did open it up down to where the repair was done, but the leak is occurring up the road from there.
If they hit the pipe, when they were doing the repair, the damage would be where they hit the pipe.
There's an email that he provided a summary of his synopsis, the homeowner. He says they hand dug and prodded in several areas before eventually digging and discovering a separation in the storm drain. To be clear, heavy machinery was moved around and not located where the digging was located.
Well,
So did the machinery go over where he was at? Does he have evidence of that? Is it?
No,
No,
he says in his letter, I can't say how the irrigation line was broken. So,
and it's in our right of way, so it's his responsibility anyway, because it's in the right of way.
he did, and I did tell him that, and he did state that the developer put in those irrigation lines, those sprinkler lines. I did ask Rohit if we did have an encroachment agreement of some sort. We don't, and it could have been done at the time of development without an encroachment agreement, so.
So they want something so they can send it to Union County Water to make an adjustment on their water usage?
We can give him a copy of the agenda to show that there was a leak. I mean, they're just.
Right, that's
Union
because that's
County's
all
trying to
Union
define
County
it,
needs.
yeah. But he's wanting us to fix the pipe, the irrigation line that was damaged.
I don't know if that's our responsibility. I can't, especially we're 20 feet away, we're doing repairs and repairing a sidewalk, which is gonna be a lot more expensive, and correct me if I'm wrong, than an irrigation line.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but 20 feet away, they couldn't have done damage to that line there where it is, because if they hit it with a piece of equipment,
It would have
broken it there.
Yeah,
Not
that
pull
doesn't break,
a joint apart.
because it's all buried underground anyways, it doesn't move, that pipe doesn't move unless you're right there.
It's thin wall. You hit
Well-
that stuff and anything, it breaks right there.
well, and it also says a few days after the work was completed. Like, if you hit something,
It happens.
you see, I mean, it,
So is there a consensus not to do anything? Okay.
No.
Bob, you have any comments?
No, I mean, I'm listening, I'm looking at the pictures. Just one question. Who does Mike work for again?
AMT, he's our contract engineer.
Okay, gotcha, okay.
Okay, so we're just gonna have to let the homeowner know, or this, real estate agent know?
It's,
He was
I'll
following
let
up on behalf of the homeowner?
no, it was the previous homeowner. The home has since been sold, but I'll let the former homeowner know because I think he feels some type of responsibility to
I
the
see.
person who
Okay.
bought the house.
Okay. All right, moving on. Next up, we have number 15, call for public hearing for zoning text changes related to compliance with Ncgs 160D and other minor miscellaneous amendments to be held on June 8, 2021 at 6:30 PM at Village Hall, 10004 Newtown Road, Marvin.
so moved.
Further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. Next up, we have a call for a public hearing, 16, call for public hearing for temporary use permit for a construction office trailer at the new Village Hall site 10006 Marvin School Road to be held on June 8, 2021 at 6:30 PM at Village Hall, 10004 Newtown Road, Marvin.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Number 17, discussion of time capsule ideas. Tammy, get you there.
So we should do a time capsule and bury it on Village Hall's property, like when we're building it, so that we can open it. And I know that when, I don't know, I think it was the police department for the city of Charlotte, like the downtown one, they did something like this.
Yeah, like 25 years ago to open, 100 years
Yeah,
then. so-
yeah.
I'm gonna donate my mask.
Okay, there you go. So, don't you think that would be cool? Like that would be so
Don't wash
cool.
it, Joe.
I'm not
Make
gonna
sure
wash
you
it.
didn't
I'm just
contaminate it
gonna
with
donate
All
it.
your DNA, and we can
My
like clone
DNA will be
you.
on there and it'll be, I'll just give it a good,
Yeah.
little bit of
Don't you
love
guys think we
before
should
I-
do that? Like find out what they did. I don't know what they did, but
I think, obviously.
that'd be
when
so
you-
cool. Don't roll your eyes.
When you review how old
I'm
you
not
are
rolling
and you
my
get
eyes.
your birthday and this was what happened when you were born, that's enough
That's
for me.
crazy.
I know what was happening. But I would say, if I were to choose, I would definitely do something related to the pandemic, because this is happening during that. I would definitely take some significant news articles and newspaper headlines. I used to have headlines from absolutely.
Newspaper. What's a newspaper?
Exactly. But
Kim, when you're 60, you'll know what
if I took you
We're
to
not
my
gonna have
garage,
newspapers when I'm
if I took
60.
you to my garage, I have a whole stack of very significant things that have happened in my lifetime. Headlines that are, kind of cool to
So
have.
do you guys want to do this?
I'm okay with it.
I think it's cool. Bob, you want to do it? You're in, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think Gene Stowe's book would,
Yes.
Absolutely.
So where are we going to bury it, and in what, and
I don't know.
how is it gonna be
We gotta
earmarked?
figure that out.
All right,
So-
don't do it as a order change. But
No,
we have
no.
to designate
What we can do, I'll just suggest this, because I'm sure y'all want to get something out to the community and let them know, and maybe they can solicit ideas. We can add, when we get to communications, we can add like another header here.
Yeah, that'd
and
be
just
good.
Keep an ongoing kind of idea list, and then we'll get to the point
So
of.
my first question would be to the people who have done this before is how big was the?
Yeah.
So we have an idea of what our area of.
Have you seen it, Rohit? Have you seen it?
How big
Heard
is
about
that?
it. I've only heard of it.
I don't know. But
I've
I've
never
only
seen
heard
one of
about
these
it.
things. I don't know how big it is.
We'll send some stuff out on our listservs with other municipalities, and we'll get some ideas,
Okay.
and we'll
Just like
add
the
it to communications.
Casket.
I'll get a picture of
Give
your
us
smiling
all,
face.
fill
That's
that
right.
diaper up.
All right. Cool.
All
Yay.
kinds of stuff.
Okay, yeah, so we're basically in favor of it. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of
Yeah.
making
I am.
ideas that happen
Yep,
and stuff.
I'm good with it.
Bob, I want some of your beard.
Yeah, some hair.
Ew.
All right, moving on. We have number 18, fiscal FYI contract list for fiscal year 21-22. Contract list.
I know. I don't even
So
know.
this is something that's in our finance policy that says we have to give it to you, so I'm just giving it to you.
Where is it?
It's right here. Looks like this.
It's in your
It
packet.
just shows you all of our contracts.
Okay.
It's just,
Oh, it's just not the right spot.
it's
Where is
just,
it?
it looks like this.
It's
Oh, it's somewhere.
somewhere
Here it
else.
is. I got it. Okay, so this is all the people we have any kind of contract with.
Yes.
Okay.
That includes telephone service, I assume.
I think it does, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so this is just a requirement in your, windscreen, you see, it's there.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, it's just FYI.
I'm like moving on.
All right. Thank you
You can study that list
for
later.
that FYI.
There will be a test on that next.
Yeah. Next up, we have number 19, discussion consideration of solid waste selection committee.
Okay, so sitting at your desk is this sheet right here.
Yep.
The very long sheet that's attached to it is basically a summary of all the questions that we asked in the, y'all don't have to look at this, you'll see it again at the next meeting, but basically this is a summary of all the extra supplemental information that we requested of all of the vendors. Just for the simple fact that we didn't want you to make a decision just solely based off of the number itself. We wanted you to look at the quality of the vendors. So I don't know if y'all want us to form some type of selection committee to look at these and weight the responses. If you do, we need to get it like pretty quickly established, or if y'all just want to look at these at the next meeting and make a determination.
So let me ask you this, for those that don't have a number at the monthly cost, they don't provide that service, I assume?
Well, give me an example.
Or like, going down, add-on Christmas tree, Waste Connections, well, no, that's not a good,
Add on paint and oil.
well,
If
it
there's
has
not-
NA, waste at the very end, logos on trash and recycle cans, have been Waste Connections, it doesn't have a number there.
Then they didn't submit for it, which means it's not applicable, like,
Okay.
they're not gonna allow it. And we'll look at this and the numbers in a lot more detail when we select,
Well, it's
Then-
kind of like a smorgasbord, you go down the cafeteria
I know,
line.
but the
and you
question
go-
is, do we want to form a committee to go through this
I don't
and weight
think we
it?
need, there's only 3 vendors, right?
okay, that, we had that in the RFP as an option, I just, because y'all looked at it, I just wanted to give it to you guys if you wanted the option. I figured you could do it yourself, but it's,
I think we can get through it at a work session.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I do
Okay.
too.
No, we're doing
it's
this.
June 8th.
Yeah, we're doing this. We got to award the contract June 8th.
Okay.
I think we can do this in June 8th.
So what I
We can do
will
it now.
request is look at this, study this, ask Christina your questions before the next meeting so that we're not spending 2 hours on this.
Right.
Bob,
Yeah.
Do your
I mean,
homework.
When you're saying the next meeting, you're talking about council or work session?
no, the June 8th meeting, our next council meeting,
Regular meeting.
regular meeting in a week and a half.
So at that meeting, we are checking off what we want through the cafeteria
No,
line
we are picking a
Oh, yes.
vendor.
and picking a vendor.
This
We're doing
is,
both
Yeah.
this is,
simultaneous.
Yeah,
I'm correct in saying there are 3 choices and that's it? That's all
well,
the
there's really
responses?
2, right?
just all of the responses we had.
Yeah, I'm good for that.
Okay,
Wow.
so do your homework, Bob.
I will do it.
And then somebody needs to call Jamie and get him this and have him review this before the meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna set this aside.
Yeah, don't lose that, Joe. Do your homework.
All right. Any other questions?
No.
All right, moving on, next up, number 20, discussing consideration of solid waste utility fee versus tax increase.
So going along with the same packet, basically we can go up on our taxes a roughly 5.5 cent, like half a cent for next year to cover this, or we can do a solid waste impact fee. I would suggest doing a straight impact fee and not raising taxes. And basically what we would do is whatever the number is that we come up with, whatever that fee is per household, we'll just turn around and charge it to the
Yeah,
household.
let's do that.
But my concern is that that's a lot of work for someone here and staff to go and chase that money.
No, it'd still be collected
It's collected in your
annually
taxes.
as.
Oh, it is collected
With
in
your
your
it's
tax.
just the difference between an actual tax
Okay.
raising or just an impact fee.
It's gonna be a line
So
item
it's
on
an
your
impact fee
Union.
every year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a line item on your Union County tax bill
We can only go
or your
up,
Marvin tax bill.
yes.
Marvin.
Marvin tax bill.
We can only go up on taxes, and we have to select it by the beginning of the year, the fiscal year, so it has to be done by, July 1st. So this is our only opportunity this month to go up on taxes, that half a cent, if we're gonna use that to cover the solid waste, even though we don't know the number
Yeah,
yet.
So impact fee is the better way to go.
Impact fee would be the better
Yeah.
route.
Yeah, I agree, and then also, as we discussed in the WUMA meeting, when it goes into general fund, it could be misappropriated. This way, the general public sees exactly
Yep.
where each penny that they're putting in goes to. They know that's going for the trash.
And they're
Can't be
knowing,
used for anything else.
and they're knowing how much they're saving,
Right,
cause it's gonna be a bunch.
right. And it can't be misappropriated by
So-
somebody down the road that's not.
Yeah.
The impact fee is a one-time fee for the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, y'all can decide to do it.
No, I mean, because right now I get a
No.
quarterly bill that gets deducted. It's like $68, whatever it is.
No.
And
And what
do
we
the
would do is
math.
prorate the first year somehow. So we'll have to figure that one out. We
When will this go into effect?
Like next spring.
Spring 22.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just
Okay.
making sure we didn't need to crunch numbers before July 1st.
And
Nope.
Chaplain's okay with all of that, no issues there, right?
On what?
On any of this, we can do this.
On anything.
No, I don't know if he needed to be we had to discuss anything with him or not. I mean, that's fine. Okay, next up, 21, call for public hearing to discuss and consider the construction plan of 7-Eleven at Marvin
Gardens.
Gardens to be held on June, I'm sorry, I'm kind of like.
Somebody give him a kickstart.
I had a lot of iced tea too, it's flowing. At Marvin Gardens to be held on June 8th, 2021 at 6:30 PM at Village Hall, 10004 Newtown Road, Marvin.
So moved.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Sorry.
Marvin.
Marvin. Fall asleep.
Gardens. Gardens.
Say it, Joe.
Say it, Joe. Say it.
Spit it out.
Say it.
All right.
my God.
Number
Well, maybe it's a
22, review of council minutes from the 4/13/21 budget work session, 4/13/21 regular meeting, 4/20/21 special meeting, 4/28/21 Village Hall Design Finishes Subcommittee,
Two additional.
5/6/21 special meeting, 5/11/21 special meeting, 5/11/21 budget work session, 5/11/21 regular meeting, 5/12/21 spring town hall meeting, 5/17/21 Village Hall Design Finishes Subcommittee meetings.
Two additional sets. Do y'all think you have enough meetings?
Well, we have enough to review. I looked at, for me, I looked at everything, nothing stood out in the minutes that I received, but this is new.
These are two sets of minutes. This is from the trip to the General Assembly. Chaplain advises to write up some minutes. The other one is from your most recent Design Finishes Subcommittee meeting. I'm going to bring these up on the WebEx to share so Bob can see. If I can get the computer to work right.
Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes that were provided to us?
Yes, and I had no changes to those.
Throw ahead, I can't get this to work.
Did you have a chance to read them all?
I'm good.
Where's the mouse?
Bob, did you have a chance to read what was provided to you?
Where is it?
I did.
Okay.
I can't.
I have no.
Oh, sorry, what's going on?
And I'm good with these two new
the
ones.
bottom screen.
I don't think they have any changes anyway. I think you're good.
And I'm good with the two new ones. You're good.
Okay.
Two new ones. Didn't include me. I wasn't good.
Very well.
It's trash. It's just trash.
Do y'all want him to pull them up or y'all good?
We see them. We have them in our hands.
Well, Bob
Bob
can.
needs them.
He said he
He
was
said
good.
he's already read it now.
So two new
No,
ones.
the-
Then
the
Austin
ones
He
that
has
were
them.
provided-
hasn't read the, Bob hasn't seen the two new ones.
Okay.
One's the design committee and the other one,
Okay.
they're on their
Mm-hmm.
clerk,
Mm-hmm.
council boards, council
Mhm.
minutes,
Mm-hmm.
21.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be, you should look for 420 and force.
Can I ask a question? Why did we do that why did we do for the General
To
Assembly, but
go
we
back
didn't
to
do it for
the
the
top
ribbon,
design.
for the groundbreaking?
Because ribbon cutting was a social gathering.
And it wasn't,
And-
yeah, we didn't discuss any business there as more than two
Go
people,
back to clerk
council
under
members.
Okay.
council.
You weren't sitting with
council
any two
boards and
other
go to
council
village hall
members
and sign
anytime, were you?
Yep. Down
And
there.
discussing
Down there, yep.
anything?
Minutes,
No.
drafts.
No.
I mean, Village Hall,
Bottom one.
the design of it, but no decisions
No,
were
yeah,
made.
sure. Okay, so Rohit's
Well, I
sharing them.
said it was a quorum check.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a quorum,
We
Can
didn't
you share
discuss
the screen?
business, we chatted at
One
lunch,
second.
that was about it.
yeah, but it was because it was social?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's fine, I was just
I think
wondering.
I'm having a social gathering in my house. You guys want to come?
I do not.
I can invite the whole
Okay.
town.
Down at the bottom, Rohit,
It's just how
Kim
I
says,
roll.
I do not.
She does not want to come to my house. I got good wine too.
Well, I know you do.
Okay.
Oh, that works.
That works, I guess.
Bob, can you see that?
I can.
It's cut off.
I'm exposed, I'm expanding it right now. So I can look.
All right, hang on there.
And you guys don't need a motion on this. You just need to direct me to place them on the consent agenda if you're okay with them.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it so that. Okay, you can just enlarge it on your end, right?
Nothing to
Bob?
see here, Bob.
Yeah,
Nothing
I'm
to
good.
see
Okay,
here.
then
I'm looking at it.
I'll just leave it like
And-
this.
Or if he can't get it, then he will have time between
Yeah,
now and the
he'll have
consent agenda. We
Yeah.
can pull it off,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
you know.
All right, so-
And move on.
All right,
So
so-
yeah, go ahead and move them on to the consent agenda. We don't need a motion for that, do we?
Yeah,
Oh, we do?
don't we?
You don't need a motion.
Okay,
Okay.
great.
I'm learning as I go too.
Good job.
It's only been 20 years.
Savage.
Call me out left and right. So, open topics, okay, so what I forgot to ask, I don't think we have any open topics, but I did.
I have an open topic.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. Okay, Bob, I'll let you go first.
All right, let me get out, can you see, okay, let me get to it. Okay, there you go. You can go first if you want.
No, go ahead, Bob.
Mine's real simple, but go ahead.
All right,
Should I get some popcorn?
Council that we had, 2 days ago.
I can't hear him.
We're losing your voice. Can't hear you.
Sorry, you can't.
Yeah, that's better.
Much better.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right, okay. Andy and I were, at the coffee with council 2
Oh,
days
yes,
ago.
yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we're good. Keep going.
Okay. And we were visited by 2 residents from the Bell Grove subdivision. Rohit can assist with this in a moment. Their names were Diane and Heather. The thing that they were concerned about, what started off to be the concern, was the greenway that would be done around their subdivision. And I was not familiar with it. Rohit, thank goodness, was there and was able to show a very clear, defined proposal of this greenway area around the street, which is a cul-de-sac, which is Bell Grove Drive. What came out of the
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
concern of the
Can you back up a little bit on that, Rohit?
Yeah, sure.
Did you just
Bob,
stop
we've lost.
talking?
No, we've lost you, Bob. You might have muted yourself.
He's talking.
Can't hear.
Bob, we can't hear you.
Let me see if it's on my
I can
end.
hear that Connecticut wind.
Hear the Connecticut
Were you
wind.
guys all aware of that little leg running behind that subdivision?
That's why we're gonna have to zoom back in. I'm trying to get my bearings.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, I'll finish what I'm saying. So at the end of the cul-de-sac, the concern was about the greenway. That's what they visited to talk about. But the reason for it was what was alarming, I guess, observations of, at the end of that cul-de-sac, there's drug dealing, prostitution. There was delivery people that were using it for restroom facilities.
So can I stop you a second? With those claims, have they been reported, or are these just ladies saying that this happened, or is there an actual report? Because that's an illegal thing going on that we should have something from the sheriff's department on it, correct?
Yeah,
I would think, as Andy and I were told, that they called 911 by the time, and she was making reference that they're not as quick as they could be or whatever, but by the time that any kind of response came, the activity was gone.
this is happening late at night, to clarify. It's not like.
Yeah, it was late at night.
Okay.
So we, Andy and I listened. We contributed. We thanked them for their input, and we thought, well, we're going to take this probably, maybe let our deputies know that this is going on. Again, their concern originally, and Rohit, I'll pass it off to you. Their concern was they thought that this proposal of this Greenway should be scrapped because of this. But Rohit, I'll give it to you.
So, real quick, if you don't mind, show me where the mock property is. 'Cause she just
to the
sent me
left of
some-
that.
Right there.
Yeah.
She just sent me something about some sort of trees that they're cutting down and stuff. Is that?
Yeah, they're
where
cutting
this-
a bunch
yeah.
of trees, clearing for more houses in there. They're continuing the development of the subdivision.
along the side, along the street there.
Yeah.
So I guess let me give some context to this situation from my perspective. So Bell Grove is off of Bonds Grove Church Road. It's a planned 28 home neighborhood. Only 12 homes were built, and then the developer changed hands. So another developer stepped in and is going to build the additional 16 homes for which they have the lot grading and tree clearing permits. That was a pretty long process that they went through. So they're going to plant a lot of trees in return, but they do have to clear and regrade the lots because of the challenging topography in this area for house building. The Greenway, which the developer was proposing to build, by the way, I did get in touch with them. They were only going to build it around September anyway, so we have a lot of time to decide whether we want to tell them not to do it. The Greenway that they would build is in this section over here, and as I said, they were going to build it, so it's not in our CIP. It wasn't our responsibility to build it in the first place. Let me pull up now the Parks and Greenways master plan. So in the big picture, you can see.
So why do they want us to not build the Greenway?
Right. So they have a lot of concerns that stem from this being kind of an isolated greenway. They're saying that the two things are related. They're already having issues with people coming to their neighborhood that they're not supposed to be there, and then if this is a loop that that goes in the backs of people's property, encroaches on their privacy, especially up here, and then future houses that have to go in the back because the creeks are in the front.
They have to sit like right against those greenways. The
Right.
greenway is in the buffer, but
Right.
the houses have to be constructed almost at the back property line to get out of the creek. Which, by the way, is another issue they brought up. Is they're having a lot of flooding issues through there. So, but the reason those houses have to be built so far back is because of the creek, and they would be right against the greenway. So their concerns are, all these houses being right up against the greenway.
Yeah, and in the end, I tell them, a plan is a plan. So we are not drawing up a plan and committing to every segment. We do have to go through engineering, feasibility, and public input when we decide to do or not do particular sections. They did raise concern about all of the sections that are adjacent to their neighborhood. They raised concern about C18, which is the power line section, the power line trail section. Wait,
What was their objection to that?
Well,
it will
they
still
have,
bring the prostitution and the drugs to the
Right.
back of the neighborhood.
They have coyotes back
In the
there,
public,
apparently.
yeah.
They're worried about people running into coyotes on that. It's just,
Where?
they,
I can run into a coyote in my backyard.
I can also run into a mugger.
the
It's
The issues they raised with C15, which is Bonds Grove Church Road, is that the trail would be too close to the road. Of course, those are issues that could be fixed in the long term with buffering or buying right of way.
and their section is already completed anyway.
So they just want their whole neighborhood to be, they don't want any connectability to the rest of Marvin?
I did explain to them that if the C16 trail, which is
I know,
there,
but it's like 10 houses, so it's like
hold on, am I sharing?
20%.
There'll be
Bob, am I sharing the
20
screen
total.
properly?
I know,
It's
but
built out.
it's not what she said.
I think I am. I hope I am. Even if the C16 section wasn't built, I do, we're right off the heels of the Tullamore Trail having a lot of problems with being in a wetland. So the neighborhood road will have a sidewalk, and then that sidewalk could then be tied into C18. So let's say that, if C18 is a pretty big, through segment, and C15 is too. C16, like just from my, from my planner's perspective, the practical perspective, there are a lot of challenges with that segment.
So if the developer doesn't build that, can we get fee and lieu money?
Yeah, we could.
And this neighborhood has sidewalks?
They'll have a sidewalk along one side of the road.
Yes.
And we can get an easement from the end of the road up to C18?
We would already have that easement because the trail was planned to be built there too. That's not
So
being
we still have
built inside.
connectability
Right,
without
and
going
that's
through a bunch
essentially what I'm
of
saying, yes.
hoops.
So just so y'all know, we looked at the topographical map and looked at the potential of where this trail would go. And it basically goes in a valley that gets a ton of water on it all the time.
Okay.
So,
And that's the only place it could go.
and that's the only place it can go. So the challenge of this section is very great to get it to work. And it's redundant because of the sidewalk and the connectivity already going to be in place between the two trail sections. Personally, I don't think that it's worth it to go through the expense and trouble to try to build that.
Especially when the property owners don't want it.
Right, and I mean, it's
It'd be
not
mostly for
gonna,
them.
it's not gonna prohibit anything. It's not gonna prohibit people getting from one trail to the other because they can just go up the sidewalk.
If the sidewalk connects to C18?
No, we would have this little,
I'm sorry. Let me go back.
you'd have the little area up to the top left,
Yeah,
go up there.
Right.
We'd have that easement and we could build that whenever we get the C18 done.
Finished.
Right.
But
Yeah.
what I've drawn here is already all platted. Like, so any of this could happen or could not. And what we're suggesting here is, we ended up saying we could remove C16 feasibly while keeping 18 and 15, which are the power line and Bonds Grove, and then having the sidewalk and the road connect them.
Yeah.
And they kind of seemed amenable to that when they left, right?
yeah, they didn't seem like they were too totally opposed to it.
They were really just opposed to this section because it goes up to the backs of people's houses too close and the environmental issues.
Which houses were theirs?
They were this house
That one
and
and then-
that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two totally different ends of the.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I mean, especially if we've got the sidewalk and we can still connect to it. I mean, that's totally fine, especially if we get some fee and lieu money.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be amazing.
Well, that could, it has to
That
be.
fee and lieu has to be used in.
It
So-
has to be used for parks and trails.
And, that
But
section's
it
already
does that have to
done.
be near that area?
It's like a.
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah, fee and lieu money can be used anywhere by us.
Okay.
And the Bonds Grove, section is already completed with the little
Yes.
bridge and all
Yeah.
that. So, using that money towards, maybe towards the power line when we get ready to do it, or any other ones that we can do in the interim, but that would be really nice.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. I'm very concerned about this prostitution, drugs, and you being used as a bathroom back there. Are there street lights?
No,
Not that I know
it's,
of.
it's only halfway developed, and that's been the big problem, is that this is the third developer now, which Shea was the second, and they sold to this company out of Canada or something or other.
Empire bought Shea. Shea didn't sell the
So-
neighborhoods, and they got
That's what I
bought.
mean, the companies.
Yeah, the company got bought.
So, can we not go to the developer and be like, listen, you gotta put some street lights in down here?
I mean,
I mean, it can't be that expensive. I mean, they've already got power down there, and it's Union Power, like, street lights that they,
So can we also ask our officer to patrol
Yeah.
that area at night?
We will.
Just not waiting for a call, but just
yeah.
make it a point. If there's some activity going on there that, especially in
Well,
the
and
dark.
if delivery people are using it as a bathroom, like they ought, if they're out of the
Are you talking about the
delivery,
Amazon people?
well, whoever, I mean, they
Public
said delivery
defecation.
people,
Exactly,
you
yeah.
ought to be able to get a picture of that and a picture of their trucks and call the sheriffs. Be like, it was this delivery and here's the license plate and here's a picture of the person.
And call their dispatcher,
Exactly.
because they're not gonna put up with that either.
No. So, okay. Anything else from those friends, Bob?
No, ma'am, that's it.
Cool.
All right.
Should I bring this to the PRNG board to discuss, like,
Yeah,
I think it makes sense, yeah.
yeah.
And then, by the way, they were very nice, very, you know, they weren't.
You weren't looking for a fight.
No, they were just trying to bring something to our attention, and
I
they.
mean, I had no idea that was going on.
That's why we have coffee with council.
What we said. That's why.
That's why you have coffee council.
It's paid for itself already.
We appreciate the public coming and letting us know these things.
Okay, and the only other thing I had is, I was requesting, Christina, you sent me this email, someone requested a letter. I formed a letter, you have that, did you get it? Kim made a couple changes, I'll give it to the clerk, I will make the change that she made. This is a letter to the seniors of Marvin Ridge High School. Basically congratulating them on their year and their accomplishments, that kind of stuff. But I'll send it to you in award format, and then you can print it. What does she want? Signed? You said you tried to call her.
I tried to call her, but she didn't answer.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
I'm so lost.
This letter to someone reached out to Christina, asked if because last year we did a certificates.
We did a proclamation.
No,
too,
we also
didn't
did certificates. For
You did both.
each senior, if you remember.
we? I do.
I got
It's a news source and they're doing some kind of commemorative
Joe
edition.
had writer's cramp.
I know. I signed every one of them individually.
We finally got all those out of my office by the
Yeah, a couple. Finally found the people.
Yeah.
But so I did the letter. Any changes, Bob? We'll get you that.
Okay.
And Austin could send you one.
Hold on, I need the file. I need the file.
I'll send you the file.
Okay.
I'll make the changes Kim made. If you have any changes, let me know.
Do you know how to send that?
Yeah, I'm gonna have my wife.
There you go. Yep, there it is.
So is this just for Marvin Ridge?
Marvin Ridge High School.
Okay.
Because that's the only people that have requested. I know we did a blanket letter for a resolution last year for all middle school.
Marvin
anyone,
graduates, yeah.
which my daughter's a graduate of middle school this year, so
Oh, I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll send her her own
I'll
letter.
be working.
Give her my own letter.
I'll give her a letter.
So do you want me to turn this into kind of certificate looking?
No, it's a commemorative edition, so they're gonna do their own editing on the media side.
Oh, so I don't have to do anything here?
No.
Great.
But I will send you.
Except send it to Bob.
Send it to
I can
Bob
send it to
and
Bob.
Send it to Jamie if they have, because I said on behalf of myself and the council.
Sure. That's no problem.
So you're
You know,
basically.
people love it when you talk for them.
I know. Did you have any problems? You changed one word.
2 words.
2 words. 2 words.
Nope.
So you guys are revising this and then it's gonna go to this media.
It's already
media.
realized, apparently. She's already
Yeah,
realized.
we're good.
All right, moving on. Communication topics, email blurbs.
All right, before you say,
Discuss and consider a communication topic for June 2021.
before you say anything, I realized that I left Father's Day off the list. That is my bad. It's on my draft newsletters that I already have ready to go. I just forgot to put it on the list.
How dare you?
And I knew Kim would roast me for it, so.
I literally don't even have anything on my list, so I missed it.
I have a
didn't
list of
acknowledge
things I
Father's
need
Day
for
either?
Father's Day.
Wow.
I'm not a father.
Let us miss Mother's Day one time.
Can you just add the time capsule ideas?
Yeah, I can put I'll put the time capsule on there.
Look,
Skip
My
through
kids always
this.
ask me what I'm getting their mom. I'm like,
she's not my mother.
Okay, so let me add time capsule.
Do we have coffee with council past the first June meeting?
You don't yet. I have to. You guys will pick those dates at the June regular meeting.
Okay.
Now,
For 3 months
I have something to interject. I was looking back with Coffee with Council on Thursday morning next week with Jamie, and I've got a conflict. I've got a dental appointment that's right at 10:30.
If you give me a second, I gotta go get my phone, which is in my car. I may be able to fill that.
Yeah, I cannot.
Did you not hear me?
Yeah, we heard you, Bob. Joe is going to go get his phone and make sure he can do it for you.
Okay. I thought he was getting his phone so I could Sure. That's the only thing I've got.
I guess I'll wait for Joe to get back in here to talk about this. For the donation of historic artifacts, I have visited with Linda Charay, I think that's how you pronounce it, and I have gotten a couple albums worth of documents and pieces from Marvin's early history as being incorporated, and I'm going to make copies of them, and that can possibly go in Village Hall. So
We have no place in Village Hall for artifacts. We need a spot for that and like a bookcase. Like we don't have anything like that.
I was just,
Oh my God. I can't find it.
I was just telling them that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Joe, I was just telling them that I visited with Linda Charay recently, who's the wife of Gordon Trey, who's first elected mayor, and she gave me, she loaned me two large albums worth of materials that we can make copies of for Village Hall for historical purposes.
It's ringing.
It is not in the building.
That's weird.
Did you leave it at the restaurant?
I may have left it at the restaurant. I don't think I did though.
This is why you listen to the audio instead of reading the minutes.
It was hidden in a secret compartment.
Oh, and the ringer's off, didn't
And
it?
the ringer must be off apparently. So. Okay.
Well, we were at the WUMA meeting, so he was respectful.
Yeah. So next Thursday, which is the 3rd, right?
Yes.
In the morning or evening?
Yes.
One
In
morning.
the morning or the evening? Yes.
It's a morning and then had a gap, so I can understand that.
Okay, so morning, June 3rd, it's at 10, right? I'm good. Coffee with
You're
council?
covered, Bob. You're covered.
Thank you.
So beyond that, so we are working on the historic artifacts for Village Hall, get a display case and everything. I've told you about this before. This is the magazine that we send stories to every once in a while for free. They're willing to share stuff about whenever we have job postings. Yes, you got yours.
I brought it.
They're willing to even post stuff about jobs we have available, board positions. They want to do a profile on each of y'all, just to really introduce you to members of the community who may not pay attention to council meetings and our proceedings. Gus is the editor, the publisher for this. He asked me just to tell you guys that this is an opportunity to introduce you guys to more people, to give insight into what's going on in Marvin. This is a family-friendly, all positive, no political magazine. He wanted me to tell you guys that you guys can either write up something for each of yourselves, or that he can have one of his workers come and kind of do an interview. It's really whatever you guys prefer. If you want to do this, you can. If you don't, just let me know and I'll let him know. But it's free press.
Well, I definitely think we need to advertise like our board openings, our employment opportunities.
Yeah, I already have that drafted.
We definitely want to start advertising for Marvin Day 22.
They only do calendar events for the next month.
No, I'm just saying, just tell them to put it in a blurb, like put it in a blurb to them. Hey, Marvin Day's coming next year. Be ready. Like start doing that.
As for
And that actually needs to be on every agenda going forward. Christina missed that memo at the PRNG meeting. Marvin Day needs to be on every agenda.
For just PRG or PRG and council?
No, for council too. We need to update. Council needs to know what's going on with it. Like as PRNG is doing stuff, we need to update council on it.
I'll give that to Derek.
I'll do it. I mean,
We just add a title.
just add a title. Yeah. You missed Flag Day.
Austin, how could you?
The National Sin.
It is June 14th.
Flag Day, June 14th. Okay.
I was like, I knew there was something on
Do
there.
some wordsmithing there.
Okay.
65.
Missed my birthday too.
I gotta get you something. I got something planned.
June what?
Hey, I'll be here with you guys.
All right.
Not
Oh,
me,
yeah.
I ain't gonna be here.
That's the when you're picking the solid waste vendors.
I will be virtual. I
Oh.
will not be in the building. Okay,
Um,
anything else?
but what do you-
We're doing so good.
What do you guys think about the profile or interview something? He was gonna send me a
I've
sample.
got nothing good to say about myself.
I've got nothing good to say about Joe.
I'm just, well,
Can he do like a collective one? Like it's weird, like it was like a one. Can he
yeah,
do like?
I don't want this to appear to be like we're
No.
self-promoting,
I
if you
agree.
will. That they did that in our neighborhood. I don't know if you remember. They picked families, and it was kind of nice to learn about the family, where they went on vacation and stuff like that. But then that magazine's kind of gone away and stuff. But
I don't know. I think it's weird.
Do they come out every month?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could do mayor pro tem one month, and then the 3 council
I know,
members
but
the next
then
month.
it's like I agree with Joe. It's very,
it seems a little self-promoting, and it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's.
especially in an election year.
Especially you sit there.
Well, it's funny because mine came out in Firethorn, our whole family, and it was a nice piece right before election, which was helpful. But
Mhm.
you know, I don't want to necessarily.
That's why I was thinking maybe just the whole council, like as a group, because not everybody's up for re-election. I don't know.
But it shouldn't even be about election. He's just, I think what they're trying to do is get like a personal side of maybe some things you didn't know about.
They want to know what's going. He was emphasizing
They want to know
giving
what's going
insight.
on in the village of Marvin. I am absolutely okay with
Yeah.
that. You know, as far as sharing, like.
They don't want to do
three-
personal.
They don't.
Three
He doesn't
kids.
want. He doesn't want political. He won't.
I don't want
yeah.
personal either. It's
They-
weird.
I think there's a consensus that they don't
Okay.
want to do the personals.
Yeah. But thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that we don't appreciate it, but
Anything else?
nope. Okay, reports and updates.
Okay, moving on. We have reports and updates.
I'll go first.
Managers report, Christine.
Well, that's good.
Real fast,
Street
street
sweeper.
sweep contract, we were expecting it to come in a little bit higher, but Derek ended up getting it for around $300 or $400.
Sweet.
So we're gonna look at.
Per
doing it-
sweep?
Yeah, we're gonna look at doing it quarterly.
Ooh. Quarterly?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And then secondly,
Well, just want to interject here. I know that with our new maintenance contract with our landscape maintenance people, they're going to be blowing and stuff. So my thought would be tentative. Let's see how they do before we commit to a contract with a street sweeper, because if they're keeping it clean like they should be, we shouldn't need the sweeper truck.
I don't think we're entering an agreement with the street sweeper, we're just gonna do it as an on-need basis,
As
but
a needed basis.
we're gonna plan
With an
for
assigned
financial.
price to it
Yeah.
every time we call
Okay.
for
You
it.
say quarterly as needed.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
As needed.
As
Yes.
needed.
Okay. Okay.
But quarterly, planning on it if it's needed, that
Okay.
much.
Yeah.
I'm
Second,
fine with that.
We've lost Bob, just so you guys know.
I'll make a notation of that in the minutes.
second thing is good news, we've got an appropriation from both the House and the Senate for our roundabout money down here of approximately 103. So that was the money that we were trying to get.
So we had 55 before from them, right?
Yeah.
And they had additional 55
Yeah.
or a 103 total?
It's whatever, 55 times 2, whatever it was. It's close to 100,000. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah,
That's really good news. So thank,
There's Bob.
thank
Todd Johnson and
Todd and David,
Yeah.
for that, so.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, speaking of which, as we got on, we talked about WUMA, what were we showing him? This House bill that we did a resolution for.
Yeah, the middle housing.
Yes.
That's what I was getting ready to say. We need to
Send that to Todd because it's already passed the House.
It's dead.
No.
Which reading
one
is
passed
it
the
in?
House? The tree one
The
did.
tree ordinance passed the House, but as
David.
Rick brought up, it may be dead for now, but they may try to ride it on this tree ordinance, which seems to be getting some traction. So we need to stay diligent on our opposition to
The
All
tree
of
one, okay.
Yeah.
So you're saying that they're trying to connect the middle housing to
They
the
could.
tree ordinance?
That's what he said, it's possible they could write it with it, so.
Okay,
We'll keep an eye on it.
Try to keep that tree ordinance shot down as much as possible, because it's already made it past,
well,
House.
it
House.
always says the first, right?
made it past the house.
No, it made it past the house. It
That's
voted-
going before the
The
Senate.
tree one did, and David did vote in favor of it, the tree ordinance.
To get rid of it?
The tree ordinance is to prohibit municipalities from,
Having a tree ordinance.
from prohibiting people to cut trees on private property, essentially, paraphrased.
I guess people don't realize we need oxygen to live.
We'll keep an eye on it, and so will the league, and so will COG, so we'll make it.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Next up, we have planners report, discussion timeline for Marvin Heritage District zoning adoption.
I asked Rohit to provide y'all a nice little table, which is in front of you.
And then we talked about the timeline, and I had July for the goal adoption in my mind, and somehow, like, I got shifted over to August when we last talked about this, but it is, we're pretty much, we as in myself and Tom, are pretty much done with making the zoning district. We're gonna be putting it in the June committee packet for their final review. The planning board has already seen it twice, and they provided comments, and it's been incorporated, so they'll be seeing it in June at their June 15th meeting for their final review and recommendation. And I'll propose to them, if they want to have another, like another look at it, they can have a joint meeting with the committee on their July 1st meeting. But that puts, both the committee and the planning board available to give their recommendation on it for your review at the June work session and a potential July adoption. You'll have plenty of chances and a lot of time to see it, so it's not like you won't get to see it, but it really is. It's just finally just putting together of the various things that have been talked about for a year and a half, basically. So it's just finally coming together in a document.
So, does this require a public input?
Yeah, I didn't put this on the timeline, but at the June 24th meeting, if you're comfortable, you can call for a public hearing to be held on July 13th, and then have that public hearing. If anyone wants to say anything, you can incorporate the revisions into it before adopting.
Okay, and, go ahead.
So you're thinking then that the MHD committee will be done by July with their task?
Not quite. They still have to make the strategic plan itself, which goes a little further beyond the zoning district to, talk about marketing, business recruitment, branding and wayfinding, things like that.
So, did you incorporate the stuff that we talked about in terms of the buffers and this is the place to put all that stuff that they can't, that nobody can go back on and look at previous precedents being set with buffers and setbacks and.
Oh, that's just by not including the clause that
Okay.
allows the exemption in our
So we're
current
good.
by right. Yeah, I didn't include that.
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. And then, if we approve this Marvin Heritage District, does that have anything to do with the MSD tax?
It's something that has to be adopted in a different process completely.
Okay. So if we adopt this, that tax does not start?
It's not immediately active, no. There has to be a complete separate process for that tax to be publicized and voted on.
Okay.
So this is simple zoning changes, the MSD is an overlay, as a separate tax overlay.
Okay, so if we change this zoning area, and then can we essentially just stop and see if anybody wants to do anything? Like if we have like a landowner or a developer come to us and say, okay, so at that point, then we can kind of
Right.
say,
yeah.
well, there's this overlay district that we're,
Yeah, it would be a rezoning at the time and not an overlay district, but Based on all the conversations I've having with council and planning board, I've intentionally left the zoning district a little lean, and because if you don't require something or don't prohibit it, then it can be negotiated at the time that a development proposal is submitted.
Okay.
There's some baseline, requirements that would.
But that taxing, once we start with one area, then it doesn't necessarily happen to someone who's not doing anything with their property.
Yeah,
correct?
it would be the whole
It
district.
would.
Right.
So as
Whatever's
soon
in the
as-
overlay.
So just a scenario would be, Fincher decides to do something, that starts the process, then the tax comes, and then our friend Let would be taxed at a higher rate because he's in the zone, correct?
Yes, but I've thought of the idea that in the first year, you can establish a municipal service district, MSD, that only includes the properties of people who are interested in doing something in the first year. That could allow the people who want to do it later to petition to include them into the municipal service district, and that tax would start the following year.
Okay, but if they want to do anything, they would have to join.
Yes,
The
and I've included
district.
that in the language of the zoning
Okay.
district.
Okay, that's interesting.
And can they deny being a part of the heritage district for any reason?
They could, but in the very beginning of this process, I asked around all the property owners in this area, and eventually just left out the people who didn't want to be a part of it at all. So that we shouldn't run into that issue at this stage.
Okay.
Yeah, but we need to be careful if any property changes hands, that those aren't the people that you originally talked to.
Yeah, I'm keeping track of that. It's 13 people,
Okay.
so it's very easy to keep track of. Make
Okay.
sure that everyone who currently owns these properties are still interested in it.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? Questions, Bob?
Not at all.
Andy? All right, thank you, Rohit. Agenda items, review of action items and ongoing action item list.
Okay. Chaplain will look into the liability incurred by us to allow subdivisions to take over their roads. Christina will get a second quote on the well. I will notify Mark Peterson of his removal from the planning board. I've added the time capsule to my communications list. Let's see. Rohit will look into street lights for Belle Grove. Christina will arrange with our officers to have additional patrols in Belle Grove. Rohit will put the Belle Grove Greenway on the PRG board's agenda for their. Or do you want to add it for next week? Or
Yes,
okay.
that's good.
Okay. We'll have Marvin Day on future agendas. I will send this letter to Bob and Jamie. Bob and Jamie.
And you will send us any applications for planning board.
Read my mind.
Planning board apps.
Scary.
No.
Scary.
We spend way too much time together. We're starting to think alike.
If you start kicking Joe, I'm gonna start laughing.
I haven't kicked
Well,
Joe in a long time.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
He's been behaving himself. He hasn't needed it.
And I'll let Jamie know about this solid waste before the meeting so he can review
Yeah,
that.
everybody do your homework. Okay.
I'm good.
I
Okay.
don't have the ongoing action item list.
Yeah, I didn't.
It wasn't in my packet.
There's a reason for that. I got mine. Thank you for that, but I have no issue. Just saying. Moving on. Council comments. We'll go to Kim first.
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, I don't have any.
Bob?
I just wanted to take a moment again to thank just the personnel there, Christina on down, the road in Austin, for the good work they've been doing. I know this has been a little challenging, and I wanted to thank Jamie, the finance officer, Village of Marvin, for all the contributions she's made. So just wanted to take a moment for that.
You want a little longer moment, or you're good?
No.
Okay. Just took our moment. Sorry, Kim. She's looking at me shaking her head.
So,
Andrew.
I have more of a question, I guess, maybe than a comment on this. This pertains to, I was reading a little bit about this whole thing about getting back to normal, about one of the Charlotte Council members having a hard time about coming back, not being able to participate virtually, and my question is, what is the protocol for this as we come out of COVID and virtual attendance and all that stuff? What's the plan?
We're still in state of emergency.
We are under both the state and the county. Once both of those elapse, you guys will revert to your established policy where essentially if you attend virtually, you don't count for a quorum and you can't vote. As far as how we do public participation, you guys will discuss that at your June 8th meeting.
But I thought in our policy, you can, if you know you're going to be absent, you can attend that way and you still can vote. No?
Or you may be able to vote, but you can't vote on certain matters. Like I know you can't participate in closed session, you can't be in you can't do quasi judicial hearings. There's restrictions, and
We'll review that again.
I'm going to send that policy out to all of you again just to make sure you have it because we could lose those state of emergencies very soon.
Because I will tell you, just for a fact,
that in my list.
Related to that, CRTPO, which I'm on that committee, we're getting a lot more attendance because it is Zoom, because it is sometimes a 2-hour commute, an hour for some people to get there, or maybe longer, and all the way downtown Charlotte.
But there's like a state statute that says in order for you to vote on things, I think that you have to be in attendance. Like it's not just like we can make up our own rules.
This is a
We
legal
just need to see what
gray
we're doing.
area.
Yeah.
A very legal gray area.
Okay.
And I mean, you never know like what the state may do. They may say, well,
State law just simply hasn't caught up
Yeah.
to modern times in regards to electronic meetings. Electronic meetings are referred to in parts of the law, but there's no specifications as to what that pertains to, and that creates the legal gray area.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, what, as we move forward, what's going to be required, what's not, and, what all is going to go on. So that's all, because there's a lot of confusion, I think, and there's some people, like I was reading that article about that one particular council member in Charlotte that's resisting, going back in person and all this stuff. So I don't know, I just was wondering what the whole rules were on it, just for information.
And this is something I've been working on. I'll give you guys a good update at the June 8th meeting.
Okay.
We should do a no mask mandate in Marvin, make a statement.
The electronic meetings was an addendum to your rules of procedure. It does say on there that y'all can vote on all matters except quasi-judicial.
That's only active during a state of emergency.
No, this is.
In the rules of procedure, it says only active during a county, state, or federal state of emergency, or something like that.
We declare a town state of emergency.
I don't think it counts. Well, it might count for that, but it should be one of the first bullet points, the beginning, like when they're allowed.
It doesn't say that in here.
Let me see.
Oh, hang on. Electronic meetings. No, it doesn't say that.
Tessie. Conditions necessary for electronic meetings. Village council agrees electronic meetings only permitted when the following entities declare a state of emergency or disaster exists in an area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job. Where's that at?
I've been.
Clerk's
yeah,
Sorry.
but hold on, but we have one.
Yeah, you do have another one.
We do have another one. That's a.
Let me see.
What page is that?
This is an appendix.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, we
I do have another.
You have an established policy that existed before this.
Yeah.
But that's the one that restricts you guys from participating in certain things if you're not here physically.
I know that's what we're trying to find.
Yeah.
Christina thought she found it.
Yeah, sorry. That was my fault.
Okay. So
I can go print it off if you guys want it now.
Let's
Yeah,
go
it's,
right now. Okay. Let's just. This is.
We'll put it on.
Okay,
Yeah.
We'll put it on
This,
this.
Sidetrack.
this is not
All
our
right.
agenda.
Yeah, all right, so moving forward, I'd like to thank staff as well. Again, I know we're short-staffed and all the work that's coming down the pipe, it's not gonna get any slower, so thank you for that in advance. And for what you've done. Congrats to approving a budget to this council 1 month in advance, that's a big deal. So thank you for making that happen and working together. Also, congrats to all the graduate, middle school, high school, and college grads. School's out in the end of as of tomorrow, right? Graduate. So thank you for that, and congrats to them. So that's all I had. And with that, I'll need a motion to move into closed session.
Pursuant to NCGS.
Pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A16 for review and approval of closed session minutes from the 2/19/21, 3/10/21, 5/11/21 council meetings and to discuss personnel.
So moved.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay.
He's the only one that said anything, by the way. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to move into open session.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to appoint Christine Amos as the interim finance officer and authorize interim pay per our personnel policy, Article 3, Section 8, and authorize a 20% retention bonus for Christina Amos and authorize the village manager to distribute a retention bonus for remaining employees as she deems appropriate
And
With
is there
available
any,
salary.
with available salary.
and any stipulations on that? Is that per
she's got that.
stipulations written up by personnel with Chaplain?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
further discussion? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Do we have anything else on?
Nope. Like to make a motion to adjourn.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Aye. Bye, Bob.
Thank you. See ya.
How do I stop it? How do I stop